Kaspa has a Bitcoin problem. And no, it's not what you think. I know what you're thinking. It's not. I'm not talking about fundamentals. I'm talking about behavior. All right. When Bitcoin sneezes, Kaspa catches pneumonia, which means Kaspa isn't leading anymore. And boy, oh boy, it's a big problem. It's following. Not a good thing. I will show you why. And when an altcoin is trapped in a Bitcoin shadow, upside gets capped and timing gets brutal. Look, in the next few minutes, I will show you where that shows up in the chart and what would prove Kaspa is actually breaking free from that shadow, potentially leading again like it was in 2022 and 2023. That's what we're going to do today. Make sure that you stay until the end. You understand all of this and more. This is Kaspa and Bitcoin, all right? As you can see, Bitcoin in the top, Kaspa in the bottom. Look, right out of the gate, you can see that this is following, the peak was here. Since the peak was here, well, that was like October 10th. And this is a weekly standpoint. Okay, if we go to a daily, this is going to be even more pronounced. All right, you can see exactly. Sorry, I'm going to move this here. You can see exactly how, since Bitcoin is falling down, Kaspa was going exactly with it. So first down, then sideways. All right, you can see it. All right, you don't need to first down here, sideways here, sideways here, down here, down here, sideways here, sideways here. This is a big problem. This is Kaspa following Bitcoin, and as I said, is bad news for altcoins. Why? Because it means they stop leading. Just for you to understand, all right, look at what happened in the past. I'm going to go back to the weekly so we can see it. I'm going to move this chart to the log chart because I want you to see what happened when Kaspa was actually leading. You can see all this time where Bitcoin was still going sideways. And of course, we don't see the past of Bitcoin here because this is a comparison between these two, right? All here, well, Bitcoin was still, in its 20,000s area, Bitcoin, FTX. Look, this is where FTX fallout happened here in November. And you can see that Bitcoin was actually going down. And let me do a log chart over here. Bitcoin was going down with FTX. But look what happened on Kaspa. Kaspa was leading, all right? So while Bitcoin was shenanigans sideways like this, all right, let's measure the months, all right? All this time was 72 bars. That's 72 weeks. Let's measure it by days. Can we measure it by days? Just 1 second. No, it's not letting me over here. Let me do it like this because let's do it from here. So in over a year, 476 days until Bitcoin broke free above the 33,000 area. Look what happened. Kaspa was already made up until here, already made 22,000%. All right. It actually started way when Bitcoin was deep in the bear market here. This was actually already moving higher and higher and higher in price. This is leading. This is Kaspa leading the way, paving the way, being a leader, being the train that pushes things forward rather than like what's happening now, just following suit after what's happening with Bitcoin, okay? Now you can see one last thing, all right? One last thing. You can see that not only in the beginning, Kaspa was not acting the same as Bitcoin, but also, and I'm going to go back to regular chart, right? You can see also that even when it topped, right? Kaspa topped here, it was still decoupled from Bitcoin, all right? Because Bitcoin was actually going still up, all right? While Kaspa actually already topped. This is usually a sign that, the majority of the bull market, at least for altcoins, were already, past, all right? Because this was actually one of the leaders of all altcoins and it topped here. So you can see that the correlation was still non-existent. So all the way up over here, mainly Kaspa was non-correlated with anything, just doing its own thing. Still on the topping phase, kind of same thing, still not very correlated, started its way down, still not very correlated. But then when Bitcoin topped, like really topped, then correlation really started to happen exactly, as it's happening here, right? Same exact correlation. And this is bad news, right? What I want to see is a decoupling, decorrelation again from of Kaspa from Bitcoin. I want to see Kaspa doing its own thing, and it can. We saw in the past that it can. Now, I'm not saying it will, and remember, this is not financial advice whatsoever. This is me and my own experience, understanding and knowing Kaspa, knowing Bitcoin, and knowing crypto for the last decade. I've been trading crypto successfully. By the way, I'm a top 10 trader in the US Investing Championship for 2025. You can go check that also. I'm a very good trader. And believe me when I say, I'm not just holding Kaspa. I won't just hold any coin. Never. All right. Only when it has an edge. And right now, Kaspa has zero edge whatsoever. It does have the potential, as I said in the last video, to be part of 0.001%. Okay. But it needs to decouple its behavior from Bitcoin's behavior first. Until next time, everyone, thank you. No edge, no trade. Cheers.